Have you ever wondered what is truly holding you back? It's not because you lack talent, it's not because you lack opportunity or even luck. It's because you're carrying too many weights that don't belong to you. Think of a Roman soldier before battle. He doesn't drag his whole house onto the battlefield. He carries only his sword, his shield, maybe a letter from home. Because he knows if he carries too much, he won't survive. And we're no different. We think life demands more money, more approval, more opportunities. But the truth, what you really need, is less. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." That's why today we're not adding, we're subtracting. We're not chasing more, we're letting go. And there are 10 things you must quietly eliminate from your life. No announcements, no apologies. Because freedom doesn't come from what you add, it comes from what you remove. And before we dive in, I'm Jason, and this is the Stoic Habit. If you feel this is the journey you need, if you want strength that no chaos can break, hit subscribe and let's walk this path together. And let me say this up front, some of the things on this list may be hard for you to accept, but that very discomfort is the clearest sign that you need to let them go more than ever. Now let's begin. 1. The mask of pleasing others. We've all worn a mask. The employee who nods yes, even when their heart says no. The friend who forces a laugh at a cruel joke. The online persona who shines with luxury while inside they feel empty. Seneca once said, "True wealth is to live in accordance with your nature." You can survive behind a mask, but your soul will starve. Think of Robin Williams, a man who made the world laugh, yet off stage, he wrestled with deep despair. He gave joy to millions, but not to himself. That is the price of living for others. And today, the pressure is heavier. Social media demands perfection. We edit, we filter, we polish every frame of our lives pretending to be flawless. But the truth is, nobody lives a perfect life. When you finally remove the mask, something powerful happens. The people who truly care for you will remain. The ones who only loved your disguise will quietly disappear. And that is a gift, not a loss. But if you believe the mask is your greatest enemy, you're mistaken. There is something far more dangerous, something that silently devours your days. And its name is procrastination. We've all worn a mask. The employee who nods yes, even when their heart says no. The friend who forces a laugh at a cruel joke. The online persona who shines with luxury while inside they feel empty. Seneca once said, "True wealth is to live in accordance with your nature." You can survive behind a mask, but your soul will starve. Think of Robin Williams, a man who made the world laugh, yet off stage, he wrestled with deep despair. He gave joy to millions, but not to himself. That is the price of living for others. And today, the pressure is heavier. Social media demands perfection. We edit, we filter, we polish every frame of our lives pretending to be flawless. But the truth is, nobody lives a perfect life. When you finally remove the mask, something powerful happens. The people who truly care for you will remain. The ones who only loved your disguise will quietly disappear. And that is a gift, not a loss. But if you believe the mask is your greatest enemy, you're mistaken. There is something far more dangerous, something that silently devours your days, and its name is procrastination. 2. The habit of procrastination. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Yet how often do we live as if time were infinite? We say, "I'll start tomorrow. I'll chase that dream next year. I'll make that call when the timing feels right." But procrastination is not harmless. It is a thief. Every day you delay, it steals the one resource you can never earn back: time. Think of Steve Jobs. Each morning he asked, "If today were my last day, would I still want to do what I am about to do?" And if the answer was no, too many days in a row he changed, he acted. We, on the other hand, often bury ourselves in busyness, emails, scrolling, distractions, convincing ourselves we're productive, when in truth, we're only avoiding the work that matters. Discipline doesn't mean doing everything at once. It means doing the next necessary thing today, because tomorrow is a story we may never get to live. And if procrastination steals your time, then what steals your freedom? The answer lies in the chains you've carried from the past. 3. The chains of the past. Epictetus once taught, "It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about those events." The past has no power on its own. What binds you are the stories you keep telling yourself. The betrayal that makes you afraid to trust again. The failure that whispers, "Don't try, you'll only fall once more." The wound from childhood that still bleeds, long after the moment has passed. But remember this, the past is not a prison, unless you choose to keep the door locked. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Many would have carried that humiliation forever, but he transformed it into fuel, an unshakable fire to become the greatest. Your failures can become lessons in resilience. Your heartbreaks, teachers of wisdom. Your rejections, reminders that your worth cannot be outsourced. Marcus Aurelius journaled each night, not to rewrite history, but to reframe it, to turn wounds into wisdom. You can do the same. Let go of the chains, and you walk free. Hold on to them, and you'll drag them into every tomorrow. 4. Emotional dependence. To love, to be seen, to be valued, these are natural desires. But when your peace depends on someone else's approval, you surrender your freedom. Epictetus said it clearly. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things beyond our control. When your happiness relies on another person's mood, their attention, their validation, what you feel is not love, but addiction. Their absence becomes your collapse. Look at Britney Spears. At the height of fame, her entire identity was shaped by fans, tabloids, and family control. The moment their approval turned, her world shattered. That is the fragility of dependence. True love is not two halves searching for completion. It is two complete individuals choosing to share their wholeness. A Stoic partner, friend, or colleague does not beg for reassurance. They give from abundance, not from lack. They stand on their own and then invite others to walk beside them. So ask yourself, are you whole on your own, or are you waiting for someone else to make you whole? 5. Imaginary problems of the future. Anxiety is the suffering we borrow in advance, pain paid in installments before it ever arrives. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by anything external, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment of it." Most of the disasters you rehearse in your mind will never come true. Yet, the moment you imagine them, they feel real, stealing your sleep, your energy, your peace. Think of 2008, the financial crisis. Some people panicked, selling everything in fear. They lost not because the world ended, but because their fear consumed them. Meanwhile, investors like Warren Buffett saw opportunity. They prepared instead of panicking. Worry doesn't prevent tomorrow's pain, it only poisons today. The Stoics knew this well. You cannot predict the future, but you can prepare your mind to meet it. So, instead of asking, "What if this terrible thing happens?" ask, "If it does, will I be ready to endure it?" That shift from prediction to preparation turns fear into strength, because the future is not the enemy. Your imagination is. 6. Resentment. Resentment is anger that never left, anger stored like a weapon, but one that only wounds its owner. Seneca warned, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay, because time reveals the truth. Your resentment doesn't harm the person who hurt you, it corrodes you. It is like drinking poison, hoping the other will fall." Think of Nelson Mandela. After 27 years in prison, he walked free. He could have carried hatred, but instead, he chose forgiveness. He said, "Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies." His choice to let go made him stronger than those who chained him. And yet, in our daily lives, resentment festers. A co-worker takes credit for your work. A friend betrays your trust. A stranger insults you online. You carry it, rehearse it, feed it while the world moves on. To release resentment is not to excuse the wrong. It is to reclaim your peace. It is to say, "You no longer get to live rent-free in my mind. Let go, and you are free. Hold on, and you are the prisoner." 7. The illusion of future happiness. We are taught to believe happiness is waiting just ahead. At the next promotion, the bigger house, the perfect relationship. But each time we reach it, joy is brief, then the chase begins again. The Stoics rejected this illusion. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Happiness is not a destination, it is a practice. It is living in alignment with your values today. It is integrity when no one is watching. It is gratitude for the air in your lungs, the food on your table, the sunrise you didn't earn but received anyway. Think of Jim Carrey. At the peak of fame and fortune, he confessed, "I wish everyone could get rich and famous and have everything they ever dreamed of," so they can see that it's not the answer. The real answer is here now in how you choose to live this moment. 8. The weight of constant justification. How often do you feel the need to explain yourself? Why you left that job? Why you ended that relationship? Why you live differently from those around you? Epictetus gave a simple command. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Every time you justify, you shift your focus outward, toward opinions, toward judgment, toward noise. And in doing so, you weaken your own resolve. In today's world, the pressure is relentless. Social media demands explanation for every choice. Why you travel, why you don't, why you eat this, why you don't. It never ends. But the Stoic path is one of silent strength. Conviction without applause. Peace without permission. Your life does not need to be defended, it needs to be lived. Think of Keanu Reeves. He rarely explains, rarely justifies. His actions speak his kindness, his humility, his choices, and the world respects him all the more for it. So let your actions be your voice. Let your life be your argument. Because justification drains you. But destructive habits go further. They weaken both body and mind, and if left unchecked, they erode the very foundation of your strength. 9. Destructive habits that erode body and mind. The Stoics believed body and mind are inseparable. A weak body clouds the mind, and a restless mind weakens the body. Marcus Aurelius disciplined himself with exercise, reflection, and simplicity. He knew if one part falls, the other soon follows. Today, destructive habits surround us. Endless scrolling late into the night robs us of rest. Processed food dulls our energy. Self-criticism poisons our confidence. Even small choices, too little sleep, too much distraction, chip away at both clarity and strength. Seneca warned against this subtle decay. He wrote that true discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. Freedom from impulses, freedom from weakness, freedom to live with strength. Think of top athletes like LeBron James, who invests millions each year into his health, not for vanity, but for longevity and clarity of mind. He understands what the Stoics understood. Your habits are either building you or breaking you. So choose the small victories. A night of full rest, a mindful pause before reacting, a meal that nourishes instead of numbs. These simple acts are not trivial. They are investments compounding into resilience, into clarity, into the power to live as the strongest version of yourself. 10. The habit of criticizing others. It is easy to point fingers, to say, look at their flaws, look at their mistakes. But criticism is often a shield. It protects us from facing the harder truth. our own shortcomings. Epictetus reminded his students, "Don't concern yourself with what others do or don't do. Concern yourself with what you do or don't do. When you spend your energy judging others, you lose it for self-improvement." Gossip in the workplace, arguments online, even the small habit of pointing out someone's faults, it all steals from the time you could use to build yourself. Criticism feels powerful, but it produces nothing. Reflection, on the other hand, transforms. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with them?" ask, "What can I strengthen in myself?" Think of Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, surrounded by betrayal, corruption, and incompetence. He could have raged, condemned, attacked. Instead, he turned inward, asking only how he might live with virtue in the midst of decay. The world doesn't need another critic. It needs examples. So let your life, not your judgment, be your loudest message. True freedom begins not with adding, but with removing. Strip away the noise, and what remains is strength, peace, and clarity. Conclusion. So remember, freedom is not found in what you add, but in what you release. Each mask removed, each chain broken, brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. If this journey spoke to you, leave a like, subscribe, and walk with us as we grow stronger together. And I invite you, make your promise real. Comment below with just 3 words, "I let go." Let that be your first act of freedom today.